Good day, my fellow Americans and good people of the world. Today I would like to address you in regards to a concept that I call welfare and stewardship taxation. It's a stewardship tax that is intended to create a level playing field by which all people have to pay a certain designated tax, and that money is used to fund the welfare and stewardship of the nation. And it is a great equalizer. All people have to pay it. There's no zero tax in regards to this, but it's likened to paying a membership fee. You know, you pay into it so that you can get out of it all of the great benefits that we share collectively as society in our resource commons. Moving along with this is also to have a portions tax where people will pay into a portion of tax that they get to actually elect what that portion of their tax funds. The options for what it funds are limited based off of things that we have decided as a society in the civics branch to determine these are the things that we need to work towards in order to achieve our welfare and stewardship on continuum. But you get to elect where that money goes to, so you can choose what's going to, benefit that which you think is going to be most conducive to you producing, your happiness, conducive to your happiness and your well-being, but then also in consideration to your fellow human beings, and then recognizing, well, if we do this first and accomplish this, then we'll have more benefits that, in the larger scale of things is going to be, better than investing on something that is more specifically direct towards something you actually, want now, but rather taking the, roundabout approach to investing in other things first to accomplish them, then it gives a more robust reinforcement to the accomplishment of the thing that you most want. And then another form of tax, which is a moderating influence within our tax-based system in order to put a control on the excesses of society and in terms of our economic inequalities. Where there's a governing influence of taxation that reins in the excess and the hoarding of people in the deviant echelon of society, reins them back into a safe operating space where we're still being able to maintain our orientation towards where a nation, America is supposed to work for everybody without the disadvantage of anybody, so nobody gets left behind or kept behind, everybody lives the good life. And we have to maintain a standard criterion of echelon of society in which all people and at that standard can achieve that good life, and that to make sure we're not in excess and then leaving people behind. There's a moderating tax that influences people in the upper echelons that are in the deviant echelons to be reined in and to choose to invest in the advancement of or expansion of or increase of the boundary standards of the criterion echelon of society, in kind of like a situation of you either grow with us collectively together, so we all go together, or you're holding yourself back and behind. So if you're going to go, we all go together. And so you either invest in us all expanding our horizons together so we're not too far out of, equilibrium with one another. So there's not a deepening inequality that ends up being, destructive instead of constructive. This moderating influence of taxation increases substantially based off of how far somebody is deviating from the set boundaries of equilibrium between the criterion echelon and the uppermost limits of what is considered, safe operating space and reasonable bounds of a society that is living within its means. Basing off of the operation simple of there's enough in the world for every man's need, not enough for every man's greed. And so we have to keep a damper and on those sorts of things so they don't become in excess. So this taxation is meant specifically as that mechanization, a corrective mechanism and an anti-corruption mechanism to rein in excess and to make sure that there's an appropriate distribution to say that you either willingly invest in the expansion of the criterion echelon so that you increase the upper limits, of the safe operating space to which you can, expand yourself and your potentials and opportunities, or you're going to be reined in, and we're going to take a higher portion of a tax rate from you that will then go to fund the advancement of the criterion echelon. So it's either, this can be something that is punitive, or you can just choose yourself to participate and contribute in a way that's beneficial for everybody. In this way, it's the appropriate checks and balance to make sure that we have equality in society, where it's not based off of everybody has the same thing, but everybody has the same standardization of what we believe is considered the basis of equilibrium, by which America is working for everybody without the disadvantage of anybody, so nobody gets left behind, kept behind, and everybody lives the good life. So either, pay in investments, like into the portions tax, or to do economic developments and philanthropies and things like that to help to accomplish those, welfare and stewardship projects that we're collectively choosing. We need to do this in order to advance the standardization of the criterion echelon. And you do that willingly and in active participation and contribution, and for the collective best interest of everybody, for the mutual shared self-interest of all, or you will be penalized and kept in check and balance to say, well, you may not be willingly investing into this, but we're not going to let you get excessive to the point where it's, throwing everything out of whack and everything out of equilibrium, because your selfish need, is not conducive to our collective well-being. I think it's a great way to approach, it's 3 basic metrics of, stewardship tax, portions tax, and then a moderating tax that helps us to establish equilibrium. So equilibrium, standardization, and the portions tax seems to be the best way by which we can achieve what we would be able to consider, just, fair, reasonable, and right way of operating within society. I just wanted to share this brief video in regards to that because I thought it was a really great idea, and hopefully this can permeate your consciousness and to consideration of what would be, a great way to approach the liberation of people, so that we can achieve that ever more, fair, just, and reasonable right orientation in our society, and live up to, the preamble promise of, promoting the general welfare as, not just a nice idea, but actually a thing that we have to work towards. It's a promise that we, made. It's a promise that we each have to keep, and we have to do it on a continuum for ourselves and our posterity. With that, I'm grateful for your valuable time, attention, and consideration. Until next time, be well.